day to you, my sunshine fam. If you are new to my channel, I'd like to welcome you. My name is Chloe, and if you could please do me a favor, subscribe, hit that notification bell, like, share, comment. Really appreciate it. I know it's been forever since I have done a presidential highlights video. I'm so sorry. I've been trying to get my arm to be able to relax, whatever. I always fumble when I start doing these videos. So I'm going to jump right into this because I'm going to try to get through 1942 and 1943. We're still in FDR. We are on part 6 now. So this will be a 7-part series, maybe more. I don't know. We'll see how quickly I can get through 42 and 43. So 1942, remember we are now in the war, World War II. So January 2nd, Manila falls to Japan. It forced the Philippines to retreat to Bataan Peninsula. January 12th, FDR creates War Labor Board, or the WLB. It is charged with maintaining the flow of war materials through arbitration of labor disputes. 4 days later, it was replaced. Again, I'm not sure what I'm writing here. Replaced the Office of Production Management, or the OPM. Okay. My writing is atrocious. January 14th, FDR orders alien register. The significant for Italian, German, and Japanese immigrants, of course. The Japanese are moved to internment camps for fear of aiding the enemy. That was a terrible time for the Japanese at that point, especially those that were considered Americans. January 30th, the Emergency Price Control Act authorizes the Office of Price Administration to put a ceiling on all prices except agriculture. February 6th, the U.S. War Department announcement. U.S. and Britain formed combined chiefs of staff to coordinate war efforts. February 20th, FDR authorizes a program. To remove the Japanese Americans living on the West Coast to internment camps in Colorado, Utah, and Arkansas. 100,000 were moved over the next month, unbeknownst to any of the other Americans. February 27th, Battle of the Java Sea. The Japanese Navy caused heavy losses on Allied forces. March 11th, General MacArthur moves the command base from the Philippines as Japanese forces approach. Before going to Australia, he states, "I shall return." 1 month later, 75,000 Filipino and U.S. troops surrender on Bataan Peninsula. Please forgive me if I'm saying that word wrong. They were forced to march 100 miles, which was called the Bataan Death March. The Bataan is spelled B-A-T-A-A-N. April 18th, Major General James Doolittle. Now, again, referring to the movie Pearl Harbor. I didn't know. I thought that was just a name they made up for the movie. He was an actual general, and he leads 16 U.S. bombers in a surprise attack on Tokyo. So, if you remember in the movie Pearl Harbor, after, it was Alec Baldwin's character, General Doolittle, he's the one that led them to attack Tokyo. April 28th, dim out blackout. It happened nightly along a 15-mile strip on the East Coast, because there was German sub-activity in the area. May 4th, U.S. Navy causes heavy losses to the Japanese fleet in the Battle of the Coral Sea. May 7th, General Jonathan Wainwright was captured by the Japanese, forced to surrender Fort Corregidor, and ask all U.S. forces in the Philippines to surrender. Now, I thought we were friends with the Philippines, but apparently not. May 15th, FDR signs a congressional act and establishes the Women's Auxiliary Army Corps, later named the Women's Army Corps, or the WAC, and yes, it was WAC. Similar group there was a similar group for the Navy called the Waves. It didn't spell out or say what Waves stood for. WAVES. gas rationing in 17 states in the East. By the end of the year, gas ration was in the entire country. June 3rd, Battle of Midway. U.S. Navy loses carrier Yorktown after sinking 4 Japanese carriers. June 13th, Office of the War Info, or OWI, established to control the disclosure of official news and propaganda. So again, back to Pearl Harbor, the movie. June 15th, the U.S. joins the nationwide drive to collect rare rubber scraps essential for the war. In September, U.S. forced to buy all of Mexico's rubber supply for the next 4 years. June 19th, FDR meets with Churchill. They plan to invade North Africa. On November 8th, 400,000 Allied troops land in Morocco and Algeria, led by General Dwight D. Eisenhower. August 7th, Marines land on Guadalcanal in the Solomon Islands in the first offensive on Tokyo. August 22nd, Germans launch assault. So now we're going from Germany, or from Japan back to Germany. They won major gains against Russia. The assault was on Stalingrad. October 21st, Revenue Act of 1942 calls for tax increase by $9 billion. It was called a victory tax, 5% tax on all income over $624 until the war's end. December 2nd, scientists at the University of Chicago, they demonstrate the first sustained nuclear reaction. I didn't even know nuclear weapons were around back then. 1943, January 14th, Casablanca Conference in Morocco. FDR and Churchill agree to demand Axis powers surrender unconditionally, invade Europe through Sicily and Italy, launch combined bomber offensive on Germany, step up the aid to Russia, so here we are, we're aiding Russia, prosecute the Battle of Atlantic. January 27th, the bombing raid on Germany. First all-American raid over Wilhelmshaven. Please don't get mad at me for mispronouncing that. I don't speak German. February 7th, shoe rationing. Each civilian was limited to 3 pairs of leather shoes per year. So you women that love your shoes and have a closet full, imagine that you can only buy 3 pairs of shoes in a year. March 1st, rationing canned goods. The coupon books were required, so 1 month later, meats, fats, and cheese were added to that list. March 2nd, Battle of Bismarck Sea. Off of New Guinea, U.S. and Australian planes have major victory in the Pacific. They sank 8 Japanese transports and 4 destroyers, shoot down 25 plus enemy planes. 3,500 men die. Doesn't say from who. April 8th, FDR freezes. No, not literally. He freezes prices, wages, and salaries to stem inflation. Now, in my opinion, a wage and a salary are kind of the same thing. But whatever. I know, Star Shadow, stop yelling at your screen. You already explained that to me. May 7th, renewal of access from North Africa. Forced surrender of German and Italian commanders. 2-year effort of access to control North Africa and the Suez Canal ends. May 11th, Trident Conference in Washington, D.C. Churchill, FDR, and top military planners form a strategy for planned invasions of Europe. May 16th, German troops subdue. In Poland, uprising by Jews in Warsaw Ghetto. Germans move the Jews to concentration camps and level the ghetto. Germans were not very nice people. And notice I said past tense, were not. I don't know any German people today. May 27th, FDR establishes the Office of War Mobilization. It coordinates nations' efforts at home, and it orders all government contracts. It looks like it says gout. All government contracts with private industries forbid racial discrimination. June 9th, the Tax Payment Act current. It introduced withholding of federal income tax on wages and salaries. So thank FDR for that chunk of money that comes out of your paycheck every pay period. It was known as the Pay-As-You-Go Act. June 14th, the Supreme Court ruling, West Virginia Board of Education versus Burnett. It was deemed unconstitutional for state to require children to salute the flag is against religious beliefs. June 20th, Detroit, Michigan. Whites protest employment of blacks in formerly white-only jobs. 2 days of rioting and rampage leaves 34 dead until the federal troops step in. July 5th, Germans attack Russia. They launch a massive strike in Kursk. It was the largest tank battle in history and the last effort to conquer the USSR. Now remember, that's what Russia used to be called when they were communist. July 10th, Allies invade Sicily. It falls 5 weeks later. It provides safe passage to aid invasion of Italy. The air raid, July 19th, air raid on Rome. 3 days after dropping leaflets urging surrender, 500 bombers carry out the raid. Sounded like the tornado sirens, like it's not supposed to happen until tomorrow. July 25th, Mussolini resignation. King Victor Emmanuel of Italy forces Benito Mussolini to resign after 20 years as Il Duce, I don't know. Ends Italy's role in the Axis power. Allies invade 5 weeks later. On September 8th, Italy surrenders. Germany keeps fighting there, though. August 11th, the Quadrant Conference in Quebec, or Quebec, however you want to pronounce it. Churchill, FDR, and allies agreed to invade France in the spring of 1944. So keep that in mind for the next video. October 19th, the foreign ministers meet in Moscow. This would be the USSR foreign ministers. Britain and U.S. with the Chinese ambassador to Russia. They discuss matters about ending the war. The Axis powers treated fairly. They also say the Axis powers be treated fairly after the war, and an international organization for peace. November 22nd, Sextant Conference. FDR, Churchill, and Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek meet in Cairo, Egypt. They demand the surrender of Japan, which would restore the Chinese territory, give Korea independence, give up all Pacific islands seized after 1914. November 28th, meeting Stalin. FDR and Churchill meet Joseph Stalin at Tehran Conference in Iran. The Big Three, as they're known, pledge support to each other and reach agreement for military might against Germany. December 17th, Congress repeals Chinese Exclusion Act. It banned Chinese immigration to the U.S. And finally, December 24th, end of the year radio address. General Eisenhower will be the supreme commander of forces that will invade Europe. Now, what I didn't put in one of these is who FDR's new vice president was. If you remember, he had 3 different vice presidents. I'm trying to watch to make sure that I don't go over on my time. So his first vice president was John Garner. And then when he was reelected the 3rd time, I believe, let's see here. Roosevelt was reelected. Roosevelt criticized the New Deal. Okay, give me just a second, guys. Hang on. It would have been presidential nominations. Okay, so Republicans nominate. Okay, Union Party in Philadelphia. Okay, so Roosevelt and Garner served as vice president for 2 terms, and then in was it 41 that he was reelected? No, 42, I think. No, wait a minute. When did he get reelected? He served for 4 terms, and I'm already up to 43 and 40, so 44 and 45. He served till 45. So, let's see. I'm going to have to let you know on the next one because I can't seem to find... Oh, okay, here it is. Henry A. Wallace became his vice president in 1941. So on the last video, I did not put in the title that his vice president changed. So he now has Henry Wallace as his vice president. So from 41 to 45, I think. And then he died in 45, right after he got elected, or 4 months after he was inaugurated. So then he had a third vice president. So I will let you know about that on my next video, which will be part 7. So I should be able to get done with FDR the next video. I have yet to write out the next president, which would be it's not Humphrey, is it? Hoover? Truman. Harry Truman will be his third vice president, and then Truman assumes office after FDR dies. So be on the lookout for that. Probably getting close to the end of my time. Just to let you know, I'm sure you guys have all heard about what's been going on here in Minnesota, partly the Chauvin trial and partly about the shooting that happened this past Sunday. We're all doing okay. We've had 2 nights so far of a curfew. We are anticipating a 3rd night. We haven't been notified yet of curfews. 40 plus people were arrested on Monday night mainly for defying the curfew, and last night there was like 79 people that were arrested because they're protesting the death of Dante Wright. So we're all safe thus far. Tensions are kind of high here in the Twin Cities because of the trial and now this new shooting. So please pray for us here in the Twin Cities. I can't get out of this state soon enough. But join me tomorrow for the next video for the conclusion of FDR. And we will be seeing you guys on the next one. You guys stay safe as well. Hope it's sunny and warm where you guys are at. It's getting kind of cold here. It's been cloudy for the last several days and rainy. So we'll see you guys on the next one. Have a sunny day.